Hello! Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Minute. It's the daily show where we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate Solo, a Star Wars story 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.fun.
I'm Tim Barnes of the Twitter account TimBarnes451. That's the temperature at which jokes burn. And I'm also the creator of a sparkling new web series called Maurice on Mars that you can watch on Comedy Central's animated YouTube channel. This week, the third and final episode is out, and it's about the very first recession on Mars.
I think it's the strongest episode of the series, personally.
Really
actually, I agree. This is definitely my favorite.
We'll let the viewers decide. They should go check it out. In the meantime, we'll be checking out minute number 93 of Solo, a Star Wars story. Minute number 93 starts off with Han Solo saying, "I know," and it ends a minute later with Beckett taking out a series of tubes.
And that's how he's going to deliver this content, over a series of tubes.
Mm-hmm. So Han Solo says, "I know." Of course, that's where he got the idea to say it to Princess Leia when she said that she loves him. So got to check that box off. That's
fun, isn't it? Yeah,
off the list.
He said it here, and he'll say it later.
That I think we may have brought this up at some point, but it would be fun to almost like magnetic poetry, like to construct dialogue for characters using only existing dialogue. So you basically cutting up the script of all the other Star Wars movies, break it down by sentence. We'll probably do it with them. I'm trying to think if we could write a script that does not a movie script, not a screenplay, but write a computer script that'll do this. Just break every piece of dialogue by the punctuation, either when it ends in a period, exclamation, question mark, whatever, ellipsis. Store them all and then just kind of recycle them as need be. So you could create a dialogue just using, like, when you're, you start somewhere and then the response can only be something that's already been said in Star Wars. So
sheesh, wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would be a fun game or a torturous experience.
I'm suddenly curious about, because, a lot of people, are, especially at the time, are like, can he pull off playing Han Solo? But now with this technology they're using for the Star Wars TV series, where the voice of Darth Vader is technically James Earl Jones, but it's some computer algorithm that has compiled years of his voice and can kind of spew out Darth Vader saying things. Same with like the young Luke Skywalker. So maybe one day there will be a special edition of Solo where they meld Harrison Ford's voice with the voice that's already in the film. And I'd be curious to know if that kind of eases people's issue here. And perhaps that's the future of people playing younger versions of characters, is that you kind of do an audio meld of
interesting
the two actors.
I'm going to go one further.
Go, please.
I'm going to say you do a visual as well, but you start off with regular old Alden Ehrenreich. And then as the movie progresses, he both looks and sounds more like Harrison Ford, so that at the end of the movie, he is totally Harrison Ford. So in the middle, you'd have this kind of brackish Alden Ford combo.
You increase the percentage, like every minute or two, you increase the percentage a little bit.
Yeah, and this is probably the best moment to have that excuse of that transition, because they're in this cosmic space with a giant tentacle creature. So maybe something happens, the Millennium Falcon gets struck by lightning, and then once it's all settled, he's Harrison Ford.
We all know that Harrison Ford famously did not want to survive the carbonite. Did not want Han Solo to survive the carbonite experience. I think Harrison Ford wanted to survive it, but not Han Solo.
Oh yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah.
He probably thought his best method of surviving it was to not come back.
The only way to win is not to play. Do you think, it's hard to say now 40 years later, but do you think they could have gotten away with, in Return of the Jedi, they defrost Han Solo and it's a different actor now? Could they have Bruce Boxleitner or someone else who was or Tom Selleck or something.
For a second, I thought you said Bruce. This you know who Bruce is? He's
the Australian guy, right?
Oh no, he's this famous big black comedian, very big guy. So the idea of Bruce replacing
I'm all for it.
Harrison Ford
when he comes out of carbonite, all of a sudden he's all right.
Yeah.
I say from now on, every year they just remake the Star Wars trilogy with different actors, and then they just every year it's the same thing, and then we just get to see how different actors would.
It's like Shakespeare, summer stock.
Exactly.
It's like we come every. Who's in the Star Wars this year? Oh, all right. Which one are they doing? That kind of a thing. Every year, just come out with a new version of one of the 9 or 11 Star Wars movies, and with new
6,
people.
But yeah,
I was going to say 3 at first, but yeah, no, I like that idea. Although I would like it if you do it live, though. I would like to see that as a theater thing.
Well, that's one variation. Yeah.
Right.
Because then you could do themes. You could have it all. All robot cast, or all like the cast of Bob's Burgers now all doing Star Wars or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
something like that. So,
anyway,
minute number 93.
Yes, one questionable piece of dialogue that we were just Tim was just looking it up, confirming that it was in fact said in this.
Could he believe his ears? Was his
and I still can't remember what it is. I know I just looked it up, but what
he says
something. Yeah.
But he says, well, because I think Lando is questioning what Han Solo is doing, because they're getting kind of close-ish. They're being pursued by the Sula-Verminoff. And they are close to the Maw, and Han ejects the lifeboat, the life pod, escape pod, which Lando is probably at this point like, hey, we might need that because we got to get out of here. We might not survive this. But Han knows what he's doing. He's like, you just ejected the escape pod. Like, I know. Like, why? And then Han says, that's why, baby.
Yeah.
In a very,
I know Han Solo calls the Falcon baby in Star Wars, says, hear me, baby, hold together. Do we ever hear another character call another character baby?
Huh.
It's the part I was born to play, baby.
I don't know if this is a curse word or not, but something that always stood out to me, I don't remember if we talked about this or not, or if you have talked about it, but Poe in The Last Jedi refers to the giant gate as a big-ass door.
Right.
Yeah.
And that always threw me off. Probably more than baby here.
Yeah.
As I've never heard anyone use that phrase in Star Wars before.
Now I wish we could go back and insert babies into various lines of dialogue.
Well, that would be one of the Star
Take
Wars.
her away, baby.
It's a trap, baby.
Oh, I like that one.
Like a Telly Savalas to play.
Right,
that would have been awesome.
It feels like a special shot as Han says this too. That it's just like a specific, unique angle that makes you focus on the fact that he says this more than it should. I don't know, they thought that crowds would just love this moment or something.
Right. Like zoom right into his face and he winks at the camera.
I don't remember. The theater I saw it in was like half empty or half full. So I don't remember much of anything getting a big reaction. Do you?
Same.
Do you remember seeing it for the first time? Where did you see it, Tim?
Yeah, I saw it at some theater in Manhattan, and it was probably
opening day.
Opening day, opening night, or whatever. Opening day and night don't exist anymore, but whatever. Like within the first 24 hours of it being out,
you went to one of like the 3 a.m. screening because you wanted to be one of the first people to.
And it was probably the saddest Star Wars in theaters situation I've ever encountered, where it was so few people that, and I don't mean this like I really enjoy Star Trek, but I kind of felt like, is this what it's like to be a Star Trek fan? Like to be a sort of a science fiction fan. Like it made Star Wars feel like a niche thing that only a few people go to see, or like a fandom event or a Fathom event. You know what I'm talking about?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, there'll be a limited showing of this amazing fan film someone has made.
Right.
Your only opportunity.
Yeah, and I left it just like rethinking everything and having just. I remember my ultimate feeling was I wish that this just came out on a streaming service. Then I would be totally fine with everything about it. But because of all of the behind the scenes stuff that we were all following, and the end result I think was decent, but my feeling was it movie theater decent? I'm not so sure. But if I were just I would have absolutely loved to have just like pop some popcorn at home and turn this on. And I wish that was my actual experience of watching it.
It does almost feel like a sort of harbinger of the streaming era.
It's slightly out of play. Like it just missed the boat by like a year or two, that it like absolutely would have probably gone to streaming.
Do you remember they had this movie in particular had this should have been a bit of a warning sign too, because I can't think of any other Star Wars movie that's like, the only thing I can think of the promotional aspect of it is they had like some deal with Denny's. Like they were big on advertising with Denny's.
Therm Scissor Punch.
Yeah, he first appeared at Denny's.
Yeah.
And I can't think of another Star Wars movie where my primary thought is their Denny's promotional experience.
I wish they had worked in Denny's, like, that's a grand slam, or, like, I wish they had kind of leaned on it
that
more.
coaxium's getting rooty tooty fresh and fruity back there. Like,
yeah, that planet they were gonna the Lovecraft planet was actually gonna have a Denny's on it.
There you go.
It's too it kills the momentum of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of my incident on the Moons Over My Hammy system. Is that IHOP or Denny's? I don't remember. But that's my favorite. Moons Over My Hammy is my favorite.
It's a good. I wonder who. That's a different podcast altogether. Who came up with that? Let's find that person. Talk to them.
That is a great podcast to find the advertising person who came up with a specific thing.
People who named specific things that have become kind of, that have stuck. A lot of things have come and gone. Yeah. Talking to the exec who came up with the creative director, whatever it was, who came up with the specifically Moons Over Miami, but also you could expand it to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Do you think they get a cut every time someone orders Moons Over Miami? They get like a 50th of a cent or something?
No, they probably got like $100 in a gift certificate when they came up with it.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Bonus. So in addition to that's why, baby.
That's why, baby.
Lando also gets a little bit of a humorous thing here where he's like, oh, L3 is telling us that we should go left, 90 degrees left or leftish.
Right.
And that's kind of a cute gag.
Yeah. I'd say so. It's not it's not like a showstopper funny, It's like, all right. It's like, all right, that's, cool. Yeah. Like there's a little bit of the one voice for all the characters problem with that. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really seem like a Lando joke. It's more, like similar to Kira earlier when Chewbacca had to take over for Kira in the co-pilot seat because, Han was just like, all right, we need to, angle the rear deflectors. And she was like, yes, we definitely do. And like, that was a little bit better because that was situational. But like, those seem more like a Han Solo joke or even a Beckett joke kind of in that. So Lando hasn't been that. I don't know. I'm not saying it's out of character, but it's not like it's obviously like there's a passive just kind of like, all right, let's throw some jokes in. Who do we give this one to? And not specifically writing for that character. Nitpicking, I know. But
Tim, how do you like Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian?
In general, I like him. I think I just have the way that he is presented in the film is not the best to me. And I forgive me if you've already talked about this, but the scene in which we are introduced to him, it really grinds my gears that he is being described just as we're about to meet him. Like we learn that I wish that we just had an actual situation to meet this character, similar to how we met Chewbacca in this movie, which I love that scene. Mm-hmm. But him being described before we see him is just like not exciting for anyone. It's not exciting for people who already know who he is, because like we don't need this description. It's like it's trying to get us hype for it for some reason. And I don't imagine exciting for anyone who doesn't know who Lando is to hear him described right before you meet him. And I feel like that kind of like overshadows this movie in a way of like, we are in this situation where so many people know these characters and we know what happens to them. Just let us meet them in the most interesting way possible. And I think this movie, we didn't get necessarily the most interesting elements of these characters that we know and love. That being said, I would never say this to any Kasdan's face.
The official line is that we love them all.
Yeah. And it's also like, I would be excited for Mr. Gambino to make Lando his own character. I think this whole movie, it's just like a lot of having to act like this famous character that we all know and love. But I think if in any future endeavors with Lando, and I know that there was going to be a Lando Disney Plus series that I suddenly didn't hear anything about.
It's moved its way to the back burner, and it was never confirmed to have him in it.
Okay.
It was just like, we're going to do a Lando show, and no confirmation of anything beyond that.
My pitch, and I know you're listening, Disney, I know you're listening, Lucasfilm, is I want, if you're going to do Lando, I love the Marvel comics about Lando. There was a miniseries, and it was like so good. Make a very high production anime style Lando series that is essentially Cyberpunk Shaft, and you've got my ticket, and I think you'll have America's ticket. Just make Cyberpunk Shaft Lando. Okay,
when you put those two words together, I'm on board.
Yes. It's like people talk about how James Cameron, when he pitched Aliens, the S at the end, he put a $sign on it. That's what this is.
Nice.
$sign on the shaft, I guess. Is that the title of the episode?
Right.
Yeah. You know what? Throw a cent sign over the cyber as well.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Well, I know we don't want to nickel and dime it.
Okay. A yen in the Y, turn the Y into a yen. Oh, well.
Maybe. There you go.
We'll workshop it.
Well, the good news, I believe that Charles Soule, former guest of the show, who wrote the Lando books, is now a story group. He's been absorbed into the story group, I believe.
I love it.
So you may get more. Let's see what his... I'm trying to find what his official thing. I thought he had a little.
Has Charles Soule is it all like books and comics? Has he written a television show or a movie? Because I feel like he's done such consistently good stuff that he should be able to write it. He should get the opportunity to write a movie, a Star Wars movie, or a Star Wars show.
Yeah, I'll agree. I feel like I've only seen him do comic stuff or short stories or whatever. But he should totally get kicked up the ladder.
New York City based novelist. I read his first novel. It was good.
Nice.
Comic book writer, musician, and attorney.
Attorney?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Go figure.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe I'll bump into him in New York, just...
Right. Well, here's what you do. Just go out, commit some crimes, and then...
Yeah, there's only one man who can help me.
He's like a real estate lawyer or something.
Right, yeah.
No.
I thought he was... I don't see any reference to it now. Maybe I'm getting it confused, but I thought he was listed as kind of a story group consultant or something on net from
he
here.
He clearly has a lot of influence because a lot of people who I've been seeing on Twitter like commenting on. There's that scene in episode 3 of Obi-Wan Kenobi where Darth Vader, forces Obi-Wan Kenobi to writhe in fire. Mm-hmm. And apparently in Charles Soule's Darth Vader comics, this is something that he's shown Darth Vader fantasizing about for a while. So,
nice. So yeah, officially creative consultant at Lucasfilm. So
nice.
That was the...
They have Googling shark pictures all day.
I wonder what the coffee situation is at the Lucasfilm offices.
And also,
I want to know about the mundane stuff. I want to everyone wants to know about the creatures department, and I just want to know what the snack situation is. I want to know what
kind of insurance benefits they get.
Yeah, who's got the good office
at Lucasfilm? You say, or at
Lucasfilm? Yeah,
yeah. I will tell you, I have gone to the bathroom at the ranch.
Whoa.
And I'll leave it there. It's not a story we need to dig too deep into.
For legal reasons.
Yeah. Well, I can call Charles Soule, hopefully, and he'll... No, I was going to say, just so everybody write this down, if you're here are the areas of crime that you need to... immigration law, transactional law, corporate law.
Wow.
So, I don't know.
It's that's an interesting trinity of law.
Trinity of Law.
That's a good title. That's my autobiography, oddly enough, will be titled Trinity of Law.
Right. And the first chapter is like, I don't know what it means, but
I went to see The Matrix.
Tobias Beckett, Man of Action.
Mm-hmm.
That's his biography title. But I like how they're talking through the solution to this problem. They work there where they're like, all right, we could do. We have, we can't get free. Oh, we have enough coaxium but we can't just throw it. It'll blow the whole ship up. Well, not if we put it in the fusion reactor. And Tobias is like, got it, I'm on it. And he just goes to do, which is it fits in with his character. It's his, it works. That everybody, they're kind of talking through it as soon as he, comes across a workable solution. He's like, I'm on it. He's going to do it. And I like that. That's the opposite of what I was talking about before, writing for one character, but it's the characters do what's within their character.
I'm starting to like the idea that they just let Woody Harrelson wander into scenes and do whatever.
Right, yeah.
Do whatever, yeah. I got it, I'm on it.
I'm on it.
Wanders off frame.
Maybe they'll do a prequel series explaining, showing like what Woody was doing prior to this. Then they can bring back Val too.
Who do you cast to play a young Woody Harrelson?
Huh.
I'm gonna say
I don't know any young actors anymore, so I can't say.
Yeah, depends. Yeah,
we're all just gonna say Timothy Chalamet because that's the only.
Topher Grace.
What about Lance from Friday Night Lights? He's in everything now. You can do a young Beckett. No.
Maybe
first of all, he's like
Riverdale.
30 years old now. I guess that's still younger than yeah.
Anyway, and I love that he breaks out the first aid kit in order to do this job.
Yes,
like he opens up the Falcon's first aid kit, and he's using pieces from that to inject the coaxium.
He's MacGyvering it. I'm assuming the medical stuff was out because Lando was just using it to fix his arm.
Yes,
yeah.
Or I don't know. It seemed like he wasn't. They weren't doing it. They were just like, I don't know, you could tie like a rag around it or something. And then as soon as Lando like went back up front, then they were like, oh, here's the first aid kit. Found it. Like,
I love one thing I do love about this scene is you see, as I mentioned yesterday, you see the Summa Verminoth. Also, we didn't really talk about it, but I'm kind of disappointed that we never got to see that the Falcon little that it was such a weird thing that we did not get to see the Falcon.
The escape pod?
Like we didn't. I know, and I'm sure if they had shown a close up, I don't know. I feel like it was kind of a missed opportunity, like to have that ship there and just have it. Oh, yeah, it's just gone. That's it. It's
So you're saying that this one little thing that we saw in the movie, you'd like another thing explaining how that works and what?
No. I just wanted it to. I see what you did there. No, but just as someone who is, of course, fascinated by Vulcan geography, it's kind of a shame we didn't get to see the room or whatever. That's it. I didn't want it to be like a big, lengthy explanation. But one thing I did think was very cool was seeing the Summa Verminoth get pulled and skeletonized by the black hole pulling its flesh in, even as its skeleton continues to fight for survival. So I thought that was really cool. So points
for that.
A bit
much for me, but
really, fair enough.
Yeah, but whatever.
Yeah, making a different thing.
Slightly, yeah. But I like, I don't. Again, out of all the tentacle monsters that we've met, out of all the tentacle monsters in my life, this was the most human. No, this obviously Dianoga has a place in my heart, but gotta get that checked out. But this is up there
around your heart.
This is up there because it bothers me the least out of all the newer tentacle monsters. So
yeah.
One thing I learned while researching the Maw was there's a character we saw in the Lando scene, Astrid Fenris, this blonde lady here. And apparently after this, the events of this film, she disputed Han Solo's claim about running the Kessel Run. And she said, in fact, that because he was flying Lando's ship, and it was Lando's ship that made it possible, Lando should get the credit for running the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, because the pilot's more or less ballast. So,
right.
What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
Lando's in the ship too, so it's,
Yeah.
I wonder if Lando tried to push that, or was he like, oh no, Han did it all. Anyway,
depends
apparently
on it, like, hey, like, are you the one who made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs? Like, depends. Like, who's asking and why?
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
I
mean, he definitely seems like someone who likes to, he's proud of his adventures. So, But apparently Astrid at one point was saying she was going to replicate that to prove that it wasn't that hard to do, but she never followed through on it. So,
what did you think the Kessel Run was before we got this? When you first heard of the Kessel Run, what did you assume it was?
It was like a turkey trot, kind of like a 5K kind of a thing.
Yeah, I imagined that. Yeah, essentially what the pod race scene was is what I imagined. The Kessel Run, that was like some cool specific space race.
Yeah, I mean, I always my take on the line of the ship that made the Kessel Run less than 12 parsecs, and in the script it says that Ben gives him a look reacting to this obvious misinformation or something like that.
Yeah,
and I always took it as basically saying, like, the analogy that I usually use is that it's like saying, you never heard of the Millennium Falcon? It's the ship that did the Indy 500 and 400. Like that kind of like that's how fast it is.
Yeah.
But it's now we that's okay. We got to take everything literally and explain it, and it's I don't dislike what they came up with. I like this the bit, and I like how the lore has slowly built up that they're like, oh well, no. In order for it to be a measure of distance, I guess it's because you're plotting a path across black holes, and the explanation has slowly evolved over time, and I'm at peace with it. But yeah, I always just thought it was bluster.
The ship has sailed already. I would prefer not to have seen the Kessel Run. I prefer to have kept it in our imaginations. I guess though, if I guess I'm going to picture it being like the Cannonball Run. I'm gonna picture it being where Han Solo was in a race with a bunch of wacky characters, and and then I like that he's boasting about it too. It'd be like, someone saying it's the car that run the Cannonball Run, like it's this prestigious thing as opposed to this dumb comedy thing.
Right.
I like that he's using it as a
and like somewhere, like there's like a plaque on like the lodge at Fort Ipso or somewhere else where it's just got like listed like the winners of each Kessel Run somewhere, and it's not like, other than that, it's not important to anybody, except he's like, every once in a while Han goes in there, he's like, you see, that was me. 112.
It would just say Millennium Falcon, and he'd be like, but that was me.
Right,
I was driving
me.
it at the time. And, so I guess I just pictured it just being like a particular when I was a kid, the parsecs thing didn't it wasn't like I was like, that doesn't make any sense, because I wasn't a nerd. But
you were a different kind of nerd, though.
I just didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah.
Is that me? Am I doing a podcast about Star Wars? Well, the technobabble, I'm afraid that's all I have for this particular minute.
Yeah.
Tim, you got anything else?
Yeah. It's
all right.
fun, cool shots, cool action.
Mm-hmm.
You got the phrase baby. And
phrase baby.
He's known as the phrase baby, Han Solo, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It sounds like if someone misquotes something, then Han Solo will be like, no, it's not to be or not to,
Yeah, what are you, a phrase baby? Like when you're new
scruffy looking phrase baby. Yeah.
Although it could also be like that's like like when you're the first one to try to popularize something. It's your phrase baby. Like if you coined something, like, hey, I'm gonna start saying, like, zap it to you. That's my phrase baby. Like
because you're trying to nurture it, you're trying to make it into
I'm trying to bring it out into the world. So
I like that. What was it again?
Zap it to you.
Zap it to you.
That's my phrase baby.
I like
zap it to you.
Little Isaac thrown in there.
Yeah.
So
zap it to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then. I guess that will wrap up minute number 93. And just as a reminder to everyone, if you are watching this, you can also listen to us wherever you find podcasts. If you don't want to be bogged down having to stare at a screen all day long, put it on your phone. Go for a walk. It's a nice day out. And if you're someone who's like, you know what, I love listening to the show, but my eyeballs are not stimulated enough, you'll be happy to know the show is also available on YouTube. Go to StarWarsMinute.com/YouTube. Check that out. And you know what, even if you're not going to watch the show, just subscribe. It helps us out with the algorithm and all that stuff. So do that, and then join us here tomorrow for another Star Wars Minute.
Zap it to you.